Welcome to Creating the Muse podcast, brought to you by Into Pages. This is a space where creativity takes center stage and entrepreneurship becomes an art form. Join us as we dive into the stories of visionary individuals who have harnessed their inner muse to build thriving businesses and craft lives of passion and purpose. Yay! Here we go. You ready?
I am so ready.
Oh my God, I am so excited. You have no idea just how I've gravitated towards you. It's been such a bizarre journey, whereas doing Lisa Ray's copywriting about the depth of her, and your images were just so, I just gravitated towards them so much. And I was like, who is this woman? Like, there was just something phenomenal and just so magnetic about your images. And then you did the recent one with the white gown, and it was just so enchanting. I was like, okay, I need to know who you are and stat.
I love
So it's
that.
amazing how we just gravitate towards each other. I'm just so grateful for that, for the women that have gravitated towards me, including yourself. So thank you for coming
Oh,
along and
oh,
trusting
Indy,
me.
Indy, the pleasure is absolutely all mine. And look, Lisa has a way with images. So I must say, you can actually feel that through her images. So I'm so grateful for that too. And I totally agree. Like, I absolutely love your work. I felt the same way. I'm like,
Aw.
who is this that, Lisa is collaborating with or, working with? And so, yeah, the feeling is absolutely mutual.
All have our kind of unique ways of doing things, like our zone of genius and different elements, like her photography. But it's not just photography. Do you know what I mean? It's not just commercial photography. And I feel
No.
the same as myself is when I started copywriting, I was like, I don't gel with any of these copyright that are out there at the moment. And then I saw your work and heard about your journey and your story. And I've always been such an advocate for integration. So I reckon let's dive on in. Do you want to tell a little bit about your extraordinary background and where you're at in your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much once again for this opportunity. I love being able to have these conversations, and I love that you shared that, everyone is so unique. And I think that is such an important part of really diving into yourself and learning about yourself. And so for me, my journey, it started when I was actually first diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So that was back in 2015. And it was at that point that, my whole world was turned upside down. So I was living, a particular way, and I thought I was a healthy individual. And then, one morning I woke up and I wasn't able to see out of one of my eyes. And so,
Wow.
yeah, it was a really traumatic experience for me. And it was at that point where I I just didn't know what was going on. And so, the whole array of medical appointments started happening. And, I got to a point where, I did MRIs and saw an ophthalmologist, and, they diagnosed me with MS. And so, yeah, it was at that point that my life changed, and, our life changed, my husband as well. And I just was living in constant fear, and I just didn't know how to navigate. I was kind of following all the instructions that I was given from, the specialists. And it got to about 2 years into my journey where, at the beginning of my journey, my GP said to me, it's okay, you'll be okay. It's just about managing your MS. And so I actually really didn't know what that meant. It was about
Mm.
2 years into my journey that I realized what that meant was that, as my condition continued to progress, then that would be then managed with different pharmaceuticals. And I was always a person that didn't like taking medication. And so it was at that point that I actually started to question how I wanted to live my life
Wow.
and whether I wanted to continue living my life on a medication. And so that just started a whole new journey and started my wellness path. And, that led me that now I actually consider my diagnosis to be a blessing in disguise because, if I didn't receive that diagnosis and I didn't go down that journey, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I'm
Mm.
so grateful for where I am today.
What a
Yeah.
hell of a journey. And I mean, just that concept of waking up and having something unfamiliar happen to you, like you saying you can't see out of your eye, then discovering this whole, it's an autoimmune, yeah,
Yeah. Autoimmune
multiple
disease.
sclerosis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think relying heavily on, going down that journey. I'm all for it, seeing doctors but the whole concept of prescription only based living and not realizing that there has to be way more than this. And I think you having that innate ability to trust within yourself to let it all unfold in such an extraordinary way. Like I think that's this month's theme for you in for the new year is very much around that whole sensory and sensuality aspect because they're the thing that gravitates me towards you about listening to your journey. So I'd love to delve more into that becoming, like the becoming of the wellness coach and the opening of the doors of becoming a practitioner and utilizing various healing modalities. So this is stuff I just want to explore in depth with you. So
Oh, absolutely love that. I'm nodding as you're speaking, Indy. So, yeah, I love that. So, yeah, for me, it was all about like really listening to my body. And, it wasn't something that I did very well. And as you said, it was, I did use my intuition quite well, but I didn't really listen to my body. And so I'm very passionate
mm,
about sharing my story and sharing my journey because I feel like, we live in a society that we're constantly on the go, that sometimes, our bodies can be talking to us, but
yeah,
we kind of ignore it and we just keep on going until we get that diagnosis
guilty.
and go,
Yeah.
okay, hang on, what's going on? So yeah, so it was at that point. So, I go back to, around the 2 year mark and I started to really ask all these questions and I started to look for other people's success stories and I knew
Oh,
there
I
were
love
other
that.
options out there.
Expanders. Yeah.
Yeah, there had to be other options out there. And I was like, this just can't be the way it is. And, having no cause or cure, it just didn't make sense to me. It wasn't something that I felt was right. And so I followed that, and that led me to find my health coach and mentor, Pam Bartha. And I read her book, which was Becoming a Wellness Champion. And I just really resonated with her story. And so I ended up taking a majority of what she shared and then applied it to myself because, we're also individual
Mm.
and, everyone resonates with different things. And for me, her story resonated with me. And so that started my wellness journey and path. And, I started working with a naturopath and, started clearing and testing,
Mm.
for a lot of the things that we're not generally testing through our GP and, found that I had candida overgrowth and all these different things that aren't commonly known in Western medicine. And
No,
so
that's true.
yeah, and so that kind of led me to a point where I started clearing a lot of these bacteria and this sort of thing. But I was working with my naturopath, and she said to me, "Look, your cortisol levels are quite high, so I think you should try yoga." And
Oh, I love that. What a journey. Far out.
yeah,
Yeah, please continue.
yeah. So she was like, I think you should try yoga. And I was not a yoga type of person. I was a kickboxing kind of girl.
Oh my God, really? So one
Yeah.
extreme to another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like a Zumba kind of girl. And I was like, it didn't appeal to me at all. And so I kind of ignored it for a little bit and then, continued seeing her. And she's like, look, like your stress hormone levels still hasn't gone down.
Mm.
I think you should try yoga.
Which is
So I was
which is
like,
interesting in itself because I think we've been taught that movement, that kind of exerting that movement kind of does help with stress. But if you're already in an environment that's incredibly, like you said, high in cortisol, the hormone,
yeah.
doing that's just going to perpetuate that, isn't it? So,
Exactly, exactly.
yeah.
And the funny thing was, I actually didn't feel stressed, but it was showing up on my test. So I was trying to get my head around, like, okay, she's, telling
Hormones
me to
versus
try.
logic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so, anyway, so I ended up going to a yoga class and I absolutely loved it.
Oh,
Like,
I
absolutely loved
love
it. And I
that.
was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe that I didn't try it sooner. And
Yeah.
so I did that for 3 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week. And within the matter of 3 months, it dramatically reduced my cortisol levels. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And so, going to yoga, then going to the studio, I went to a particular studio and, I loved being around like minded people.
Yeah.
And then I came across sound healing.
Mm.
And, I even went to some of Lisa's classes. She actually taught at the
Oh,
yoga
really? I
studio.
didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So Lisa's classes, and she would bring out some of the sound healing instruments in the classes and played them, and I would resonate with them. But then I went along to this retreat, and Lisa also played some sound healing there, and I experienced it. And because I have a background in singing, it instantly resonated with me. And
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
oh my goodness, what is this? I've never heard of sound healing before. How does it work? Why am I feeling this way? And so it led me down a completely whole new path because then I wanted to learn more about it and I wanted to learn how it worked. And so I ended up enrolling myself into a level 1 certificate and learning more about sound healing and being able to use sound. And that's when I actually got reconnected with my voice.
Mm.
And
Oh,
I just loved how learning how to use my voice to connect with my body rather than, what it actually sounded like. And so I remember, going to singing lessons when I was a younger child and the teacher saying to me, singing's all about connecting with the song. And that didn't really resonate with me. But then when I started doing sound healing and using specific sounds and really feeling the vibrations in certain areas of my body, that's when it actually resonated. And I was like, wow, I'm actually getting goosebumps telling you this.
oh my God, I just can feel it. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it led me down this amazing path, and I wasn't planning on sharing it with others. It was more for
Yeah. Your
myself.
own healing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it got to a point where I just wanted to, I just got this call to share it with others. And so I did that by actually facilitating sound healing experiences to raise funds for MS research. And so they were
Wow.
all
I
donation
love that.
based.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it was through those experiences that I had people that were coming along just sharing their experience with me. And, I was learning about how sound works, but then I was actually seeing the impact of, what
Mm,
sound was actually doing to others as well. So,
mm.
and then through that journey, I had a dear friend say to me, do you do one-on-one sessions? And I was like, no, I wasn't planning on sharing this with anybody. I was just doing it for myself. And then as it does, an ad popped up on my screen on my phone. And it was to do sauna practitioner training. And I was like, well, why not?
Step through it. Why not? If you're just devouring and enjoying it all. Like, what gets me is that you went from kickboxing and high intensity to you're saying your first yoga class. Like most people that come from that energy, they don't just absorb it and sit with it so well and kind of have it align with them. Usually you're sitting in Shavasana and you're like, how long, what are we doing here? And you're just telling me you're just absorbing all of this. Like it's clearly in such alignment with you.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Look, I must say, like my first couple of classes, I did have my eyes, in Shavasana. I did have my eyes sort of like, what's going
What's
on? What's
going on?
happening
Why are we doing this? Why is it called
in sound
corpse?
class? Yes, and what are these words? What's Sanskrit? What are they
Oh, I
saying?
love it.
Like there
Yeah.
was a lot of that going on, but at the same time, I just loved like, they were using the chakra sprays and
Wow.
I just love the whole experience and just yeah the different shapes and how they were connected to animal shapes and that sort of thing. It was beautiful. It was just beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that so
Mm.
much. Like I remember the first time I ever did sound healing, South Coast, down near Canberra, a chap named Matt Om, right? Such a unique looking dude, right? But the whole experience, I was just so in awe and fascinated with him because you're doing your meditation and all of a sudden he's like hitting a gong and he's doing the crystal balls. And my skin, my mind was like, what the hell is going on with like the vibration and like it just felt like my soul and my skin was singing with the music. It's so
Yep.
hard to explain, but I just, from a logical point of view, and it makes sense because from there I looked at that study, do you know, about the water crystals?
Cymatics.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
my mind, because I love
Yeah.
science, right? I'm such a
Yeah.
science geek, so I
I
had
love
to
it.
logically understand
I'm the
what was
same.
going on. So I
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
yeah, I can feel it when you speak and why you love this so
Yeah.
much.
And I love that you said that, it's hard to explain because every time I share about sound healing, I do share, there is so much scientific research behind it, but you really need to experience it for yourself to
Mm,
understand the benefits. And the reason why it's so powerful and we do feel these vibrations in our bodies because the human body is made up of approximately 90% of
water.
water.
Yeah, that's
And
so true.
sound travels 5 times faster through water than in air. And so I love to give that example that if you envision a glass of water placed near a speaker and the sound is emitting from
Oh, like
the
hurts
speaker,
and
you can
stuff.
actually see the
Yeah.
vibrations in the water. That's literally
Love
what's
that.
happening to our bodies. So it is very powerful. It's a healing modality that has the ability to, get into that parasympathetic nervous system, to release any suppressed emotions, to completely harmonize and balance the human body. So it is a very powerful healing modality. And I'm also very passionate about using your own voice. So a lot of my sacred sound journeys, I like to incorporate vocal toning, which is using different and specific sounds for the different energy centers of the body, which are also known as the chakras. And so I'm really passionate about sharing that because it's a tool that is so accessible and we're able to do it at any time, especially if we're feeling stressed or have anxiety or, suffering with depression or anything really. It is something that, you can simply just use your own voice, even if that's just humming, or, even singing or chanting, that will activate it as well because of the vagus nerve. So I love talking about sound and the
Mm,
vagus nerve. Do you know much about the
yes.
vagus nerve?
Oh, I've just learnt it recently because I'm seeing a naturopath at the moment because of my high cortisol levels, because
Yep.
I'm not digesting food very well. And so I've just learning about how the vagus nerve and how engaging it turns on like for your digestive system to create the stomach acids and all the, it's like, what
It's
is
amazing,
going
isn't it?
on?
I know our
Yeah.
bodies, that's actually a really great point you brought up because our bodies have the amazing ability to heal. And the vagus nerve, that's the
Mm,
most longest and most complex nerve in the human body that runs from the brainstem all the
it
way to
looks
your colon.
beautiful.
Yeah, and it's the way our body
Yeah.
communicates. And so, that's actually attached to our vocal cords. And that's why I'm so passionate about, really sharing and teaching others how to use their own voice because, as I said, it's such an accessible tool at any time.
And I think that's why I've gravitated towards you as well, because I've been told on several occasions when I did my yoga teacher training last year, and a couple of other people have said to me, you need to start singing, like not just because I've been told clearly they saying I have a beautiful voice. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't understand. But they were saying you have to use it. So start singing, but not just because of what you're talking about from the somatic point of view. Oh, I guess it is the somatic, but giving myself a voice. So I think,
Yeah,
yeah, and singing
expressing.
is a great way of, yeah, expressing. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Absolutely love that.
ah,
And again, it's not about what it sounds like. It's so
mm,
even if you do have a beautiful voice, and we all have a beautiful voice in our own way, but it's not about what it sounds like. It's about that
no.
connection. Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like ecstatic dance. It's the same thing.
Mm,
It's like it's not about technique and stuff. It's just about the movement and feeling that movement.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
I have to ask, from this journey that you're at now, what are your symptoms? How are you sitting after you've been on this journey of healing and exploring?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that. Look, I've been on the journey for about 8.5, 9 years now. And for the first time in that amount of time, my last MRI, I actually had a reduction in my brain lesions. And so that was the
Oh,
first MRI that I've had a reduction. And that's because of all the work that I have done from a holistic and an integrative perspective. So,
mm,
I've done a lot of treating around parasites and fungal infections and bacteria in the body. And Yeah, it's been a huge journey. I've learnt so much along the way, and I'm so passionate about sharing it because I feel like we're not generally educated about that.
No,
And
definitely
these
not.
other options. And so yeah, I'm at a stage now where I consider my diagnosis to be part of my life, but it's not my life.
Doesn't
It's just a
define who
part of
you
it.
are.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm.
So it's, I'm still constantly, I believe that we should all be looking after our health on a daily basis and it's about keeping about our bodies in balance. Some of us are dealing with nutritional deficiencies, some of us are dealing with toxicities. And so it's all about, keeping our bodies in balance. So for me, it's more about, showing up every single day and doing all the practices and self-care to make sure that I am in a relaxed state or, whatever state I'd like to feel, in order to not only show up for myself, but show up for those and others around me in a way that I'd like to show up. And also, share with others, what I've actually learned along the way. So yeah, I'm very grateful to be where I am. I did make the decision to come off my medication about a year ago, and that was a challenge in itself because I had a lot of fear around that. Coming off my medication.
Understandably,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so, it's not something that I would recommend, for anyone who is listening, who is dealing with a condition. It's not something that I recommend doing without actually doing your own research and also, putting other things in place and also doing a lot of the treating and, really looking after yourself. I follow a holistic and integrative approach, and there's a specific protocol I follow, which is the de-stress protocol. I'm actually studying integrative health under a doctor
I
named,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
please go. Yeah,
no, a
yeah.
doctor named Dr. Stephen Cabral, and he has this protocol, which is a de-stress protocol. So it's all about, diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, rest, emotional balance, scientifically backed supplements, and a success mindset. And I've
Oh,
personally found that when you're looking at your whole body in a holistic perspective, and you're not only doing the physical things, but you're also doing the mental and emotional things, and you're doing everything that you possibly can, your body begins to heal and repair itself. And I've seen that like for myself. And so
oh
that's why
God,
I
yeah.
love sharing that. So yeah, yeah,
Oh, I'm getting so many things that are just touching on the fact that this was never um, your foreseeable. You didn't know that you were going to step into this until this actually had occurred. So that to me is fascinating. It's like, did you ever have on your radar that you wanted to become, is it a Solna practitioner, and that you were going to do sound healing? Like, did you aspire to do that as a little girl, or is this like it's like that whole hero's journey concept, Joseph Campbell, going through the chaos and coming out the other end. And then now you're empowering other people to do the same through your Well Worth It. Is it Well Worth It? Yeah, no,
yeah, the Well Worth
yeah,
It
Well Worth It
podcast. Yeah,
podcast. So
yeah.
it blows my mind that this journey, the unfolding that has occurred, and you just courageously continue going with it.
Look, it has been a journey that, yeah, no, I never would have explored what I did explore. I didn't plan for it to happen this way. It just unfolded, as you said, like
Mm.
by itself. And I've just continued to follow that. I just continue to follow my heart and follow what lights me up. And it just continues to flow. And then I have these beautiful opportunities that arise out of this. And, being part of, your story and your journey and being on this podcast is part of that.
Oh,
It's,
I love that.
not
Yeah.
something that I was planning on doing. I wasn't planning on hosting my own podcast. I wasn't planning on sharing my, sound healing with others. So it's, yeah, put me in a place where I've been able to explore so many different other options. And I'm just so grateful for that. And I just truly, really encourage others, if you're feeling something intuitively or you're feeling something that, doesn't necessarily fit within your world. When I came across sound healing, I'd never heard about that before. None of my family knew about it. So for me, it was really about, blocking out all the noise and saying, okay, what do I want to explore? What's going to make me happy? What lights me up every single day, and not worrying about what, others people's judgments or anything like that, because they're not actually living your life, you are. And again, if you're showing up in a way that you are lit up and makes you happy and you're living well and feeling
Yeah.
well, then you're going to show up in a way that that's going to create an impact. And what's coming to me is the vibration. I've gone blank, but
Like a ripple effect of some sort?
yes,
Or
yes, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, you're attracting that vibration. And so, I feel like, yeah, when you're in the vibration and you're raising that vibration, you actually raise the vibration to those around you as well. But there's also a documentary that's actually and a book about it. I'm trying to think of what it's called. I can't remember. If I remember, I'll come back to it.
It is that you're referring to the impact of being in alignment and having that extra. Well, it's the same thing. Like they always say, you are a mirror image of your circumstances, right? Of what's
Yeah,
happening
exactly,
outside.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, but there's a
yeah.
specific book. There's something about the law of attraction.
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. God, that
I
throws
went
me back
blank.
a
I'm like,
bit.
yeah, the law
Yeah,
of
yeah.
attraction. Yeah,
Well, that's
exactly. That's right.
magnetizing your soul tribe and stuff. Yeah.
Yes,
So I
yes.
guess on that, I'd be curious to unpack. Have you found the people, the before and after the people, like, has there been such a transition from who you used to hang around with before to who you attract now? Like, have you seen a shift or is it pretty much been
The
the same?
Yeah,
Or
good question. The biggest shift I've seen is that I actually have surrounded myself with people of the same vibration. And so it's interesting because when you actually show up and are around people that have a higher vibration, you just naturally show up like that every day. So for me, I'm fortunate to have such loving and beautiful families. So always being able to, you know, have that support there from them. But for me, it's more, yeah, I think that the biggest change and impact that I've seen is that I've created so many beautiful friendships and also collaborated with so many people that I absolutely love and adore. And, you're one of them and you've
oh,
become
same. I feel the same
part
way
of,
about you.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've become part of my world. And, it's just beautiful to be surrounded by so many beautiful people. And yeah, so yeah, again, I think it's so important to surround yourself with people that are going to light you up and raise you up because, if you are surrounded with someone that is at a lower frequency, you can actually bring you down. And, we all have
Impacts
those
you.
moments. Yeah, exactly. We all have those moments, but it's always about, doing whatever practices or whatever it is that continues to light you up and, yeah,
Mm.
bring you to that
What I'm
vibration.
thinking about is like you can eat all the broccoli and do all the running that you can to perceive that that's what health is. But if your relationships are poor and your work environment's poor and
Yes,
the way you treat yourself is poor, that's not the epitome
absolutely.
of health at all. So that's,
No. And
yeah.
actually, another point on that too. So, a lot of the things that I changed, like during my journey, was I stopped watching the news, and I
Oh,
became really
yes.
conscious about what I was actually consuming, not
Mm,
only from a physical and food perspective, but also from like a social media perspective.
yeah.
What movies I was watching. Yeah, being mindful of those sort of things as well.
It's funny that you touch on that because I always get really baffled and confused. Like not to, in a judgmental way, but when people generally say, "Oh, I need to take a social media break because, it's impacting my mental health." And I'm always been really confused about that. Um, because what you're saying, it's about what you consume, right? So who are you following and what are you looking at that's having that I mean, clearly there's the screen time
Yeah.
aspect, which I get, but yeah, it's making that choice of are you going to follow things that trigger you and make you feel uncomfortable, or are you going to follow things that really empower you and light you up? So
You said it perfectly. It's making that choice. We all have a choice in anything and everything. So
yes,
it's, yeah,
God, yeah.
absolutely. Do you want to follow someone that's going to inspire you, or do you want to follow someone that's actually, always having like negative emotions and that sort of thing, and really
Mm,
taking notice of that, being aware of how these things that you're consuming are actually making you feel. And,
make you sick.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's like, when you walk into a room and you get that feeling of like, someone's in your space and you kind of get that already tension or,
Your
you know,
spideys are like, ooh,
yeah.
stay away from this. Or as when I
Our
saw
body
your
naturally
photos, I
picks
was
it
like,
up.
I need to know you. Just the crazy creeper that's going to hound you and go, you must be in my life. It's the
And
same kind of, yeah, yeah.
and then I'm looking at your work going, "Oh my God, you're amazing."
Love it. Just start
Tell me
stalking
more.
you. Oh my
Mm.
God. So I have to ask out of curiosity, because at the moment, because having thyroid issues and autoimmune aspects as well, has your diet changed significantly? Do you mind if we explore that a little?
Oh, absolutely. No, that's a great question. So, yes, it did. When I first started my journey, as I said, I was working with a naturopath and I began on a paleo diet.
Mm.
And so eliminated a lot of things from my diet. And then, that kind of changed over time. Then I started working with my health coach and mentor, and she has a specific diet for MS and autoimmune conditions or even chronic illness, not necessarily just MS. And so that was a specific diet, eliminating a lot of the things that cause inflammation in the body. But from an integrative health perspective, if you really want to know what's actually affecting your body and how, your body's reacting to certain foods, I would highly recommend a food sensitivity test because we're all so different. So there's so many diets out there,
Mm.
but it's all about finding, what foods are best for you. And, if you are sensitive to some or particular food, once you eliminate that from your diet and you do a lot of work in trying to bring your body back into balance, you can then start to bring that back into your diet and, see whether you're still getting that same symptom or that same reaction. So, yeah, it's definitely changed a lot, and I definitely stick to a
Mm.
cleaner diet. But then I also, for me personally, I've done a lot of treating, as I said, and a lot of protocols and that sort of thing. But at me, it's about finding a balance where I can also then go out and have a flexible meal at a beautiful restaurant that I want to eat at, and
Occasionally.
and
Yeah.
yeah, have that occasionally, and rather than all the time. I definitely stay away from processed foods,
Mm.
really deep fry foods. Stay away from seed oils and that sort of thing. Apart, I generally use extra virgin olive oil as dressings and
Good
that sort
stuff.
of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
occasionally some ghee. So it just really depends on the person. Like, we are also individual. And that's what I've actually loved about this journey too, is understanding that we are also individual and it's about finding what works best for you. And that even comes down to modalities as well. Sound healing you may resonate with, but then you may not. But there are so many different modalities out there that you can actually work with and find what works best for you. And even
Yeah.
yoga as well. There's so many types of yoga that you can try.
Oh
And
God, yeah.
yeah, and it doesn't necessarily need to be yoga as well. There's, walking, and there's so many different things, dancing, just find what
Yeah.
resonates with you. Yeah.
I love that because I've usually because I did the IINet integrative nutrition course
Oh,
so
yeah. Yeah.
years ago through New York, and it was very much about bio-individuality, and it was interesting. This whole remember, I don't know if you recall, remember the whole, I don't, it's probably still today, it's like not eating fruit and all that concept. But my constitution, I was raised North Queensland. My mother ate fruit while she was, so my constitution.
Yeah.
And then and then I ate it like a fruit bat, and then I was trying to cut it out. So I love that you're saying not only by individuality from what you eat, but also the modalities that you use for specific
Mm,
healing, whether that is walking in nature or playing with kittens or whatever it is that
exactly.
lights you up and brings you joy to get
Yeah.
that into is it the parasympathetic
Parasympathetic
nervous?
nervous system. Yeah, that rest and
Yeah.
digest response. That's when your body's deeply relaxed. And when the body's in this state, it begins to repair and heal itself. And I just want to go back to what you just said about the seasons. So, growing up in Queensland, obviously you've got a warmer environment.
Yeah.
So you are going to be attracted to more of fruits. And that's okay. Being mindful of that as well. That's, a very important part of it as well.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I don't crave fruit in winter at all, but as soon
No.
as summer comes out, like my taste buds, I
Yeah.
can feel them burning in the back of my neck, like you must eat
Yeah.
that pineapple.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel the same. Being in Melbourne, it's quite cold, but in summer, like I
Yeah.
feel like fruit and I feel like having berries, and
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
important to be mindful of that as well. And I think it's from an Ayurvedic perspective as well. We've all got a different body type and mind
Oh,
type.
like the
So
doshas and
yeah, the
stuff like
doshas,
that.
exactly. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot more about that through my
Such a
IHP, and
fascinating
it
world, isn't
is.
it?
It is. There's
Like when
so
I
much
do my yoga,
information.
it's like Sanskrit, it's the language itself is
Yes.
just so there's what was the book called? The Radiant Sutras, I think it was, or something like that. And it was just so, it's that just romancing your life is what it
Mm,
is. It just felt like that.
absolutely.
Yeah. It just having more of that in your life, just, yeah.
Absolutely. And even like you mentioned Sanskrit. So that's something that I was studying for some
Oh,
time as
no
well.
way.
And there is so much information around that I'm still absorbing that. But what I loved about Sanskrit is that it is a vibrational language, and each
Mm,
specific
that's why it
letter
sounds beautiful when it comes out of
has
your
a
mouth.
yeah, it has a
Yeah.
specific vibration. And so, when we use mantra and Sanskrit mantra for chanting, it's actually creating specific qualities in the body. So, I think that's what drew me when I started practicing yoga, was the Sanskrit language, and going, hang
Mm.
on, what does that mean? And why is that making me feel that way? And then when I actually experienced a 40-day mantra meditation, I worked with removing all unseen obstacles, which is the Ganesha mantra. And, I did that for 40 days, and I just felt the shifts in my body. And, it was absolutely amazing. So yeah, that's beautiful.
Oh, just something as simple as like remember like Om. Like I just thought it was always
Exactly.
Om, but I didn't realize
Yeah.
when you really embody it, it's like oh
Mm.
like and it just makes your body go oh.
Absolutely.
And
I,
when
you
you do
know,
it in a room collectively,
Yes.
woof.
I was just about to say that's one of my favorite parts, when, you get to the end of a yoga class, or, we get to, sound healing, and we're actually vocal toning, or, omming all together.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful. I always encourage people to close down their eyes to make sure that they feel safe in the space. But at the same time, at the end, I really want to open my eyes, because it's, just harmonizing in the environment, and you can actually feel it. It's just so powerful.
I was
The
gonna
human, oh, sorry,
sorry,
you,
you
you
go.
go.
I was
I'm
gonna
getting very
say
excited.
it's like that's why you want to open your eyes because you can feel it. So you
Yes,
want to see the magic in the room because you can feel it. So
it
yeah, please
is.
continue. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that the human voice is the most powerful healing instrument of all. So,
Mm.
yeah, I'm very, very passionate about that,
Oh, I love this
as you can tell.
conversation so much. I can feel it. I think that's why I love this conversation so much. So you're going to treat our listeners today, speaking of all this, the goosebumps and the sound and the energy. So have we decided, are we doing meditation or are you going to sing for us?
Yeah, so I thought I would guide a meditation and incorporate some singing through that. So, how does that sound?
I love it. Yes, please.
Yeah. So, shall we do that now, or?
Yeah, let's do it. And then
Okay.
we'll do a wrap up of quick rapid fire afterwards. So,
All right, wonderful. So, for this meditation, I encourage you to either take a seated position, or you may even wish to lie, whatever is most comfortable for you. And so, when you arrive, I invite you to start to close down the eyes and just start to become aware of how you're feeling, and notice any sensations in the body. Notice the surface beneath you. Notice where your breath is. Is it in your chest or your belly? Just simply notice without any judgment, just simply being in the present moment. And continue to breathe. Breathe deeply into the belly, inhaling through the nose, deep into the belly, and exhaling through the nose or the mouth, whatever's most comfortable for you. We'll continue to breathe naturally and rhythmically, allowing yourself to completely let go. Let go of anything you're holding on to, and just breathe. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let it go. Let it go. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Mm. Mm. Continuing to breathe. And then whenever you're ready, I invite you to bring your awareness to your heart space. And here, I'd like you to thank yourself for taking this time to breathe and show up for yourself today. And then whenever you're ready, inviting your eyes to gently open and allowing some light to bring you back into the space.
Oh, Mirella, that was just extraordinary. Like, how am I supposed to do the rest of this podcast? Oh my God.
I'm feeling really relaxed, actually.
Oh. No, I'm so relaxed. It's like shifted. I need a bit of the sympathetic. Oh, that was such a gift. Just as soon as you started singing, like seriously, thank you so much for sharing that. That
Thank
was such a
you.
treat.
Thank you
I just
so
give myself
much.
a second to come back into the space. Oh my God. All right. I guess now I'm all like, what's the
I
word?
love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Okay. So rapid fire questions. Shall we
Yes,
delve on in? Are you ready?
let's
You're
do it.
prepared?
I think so. I don't
I
know. We'll
know.
see what
I'm
comes
a bit
out.
dreamy at the moment. So um my first question is quite hard, especially if you're a book lover and you've read many a books and you have fond lots, there's so many that you can choose from depending on where you are in your life. What is your favorite book and what has been influential in your journey?
Yeah, wow, that is a hard question. And the funny thing is, I never used to be a book reader. So, but now I
Ah,
absolutely love books, and I have so many that I
yeah.
am just trying to need to schedule in to read actually.
Mm.
So I have to say, I'm going to give you three. Can I break the rules?
Of course. It's all secretly so that I can score new book ideas. That's why we do this. So if one is more, yeah, go for
All
it.
right, cool. So, from a health and wellness perspective, I would encourage you to read The Barrel Effect, which is by Dr. Stephen Cabral. When I read that book, I just could not put it down. And it is all about our bodies and learning more about our bodies. So, from a heart led perspective, and some others might call this a spiritual perspective, I would recommend Rebecca Campbell. So,
Mm.
Light is
The
the New
first
Black.
book.
Light
Oh,
is
I
the New
haven't read
Black.
that one.
I couldn't put
Oh,
that down. And I read that when I was going through, well, I would say not a bit of an awakening, and sort of just really, yeah, seeing the world from a different perspective. So that was really great, that book
we
there.
could so go into a whole podcast on that.
Oh, yeah, definitely could. And from a business and leadership perspective, I would recommend a book by Shelley Flett, which is called The Dynamic Leader.
Oh, I haven't read that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so I met Shelley through the organization I work for, and she did a leadership program through there, but she also has a background, a holistic background. And so I instantly
Perfect.
resonated with her, and I just love what she shares. She's also got a podcast. So if you're not a book reader, you can also listen to a podcast where she actually reads the book. So they're my three books, but there's
Amazing.
just so many others that come to
I
mind,
know.
Indiana. So,
I know. It's like there's the most ridiculous question you could ever ask a book
and,
lover.
and I did sneak one in earlier. I said, become a
Oh,
wellness
you did.
champion.
You did. I will have
So
to
by
put all
Pam
of these in
Bartha.
the show notes. So, and I love that you had one in there about leadership and also
Mm,
connected with the holistic approach as well. Because
yeah.
I've been gravitating towards that a lot lately, where they do go hand in hand, whereas before
Mm,
it was very black and white for me. But now I'm
exactly.
starting to realize the success of your mindset and everything really does integrated with your whole holistic and spirituality. So,
Absolutely. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
All right. Best investment that you've ever, another
Oh my
ridiculous
goodness.
question.
This is another hard question, but because my podcast is called Well Worth It, so everything I have invested in has
It's
been
well
well worth
worth
it.
it. Gosh,
But
yes.
the one that was the most pivotal and really changed my life was my investment in the Live Disease Free program and working with Pam Bartha. So that was the biggest investment that I'm just so grateful I came across her book and across her academy, because it really taught me how to treat for parasites. It really taught me and opened me up to so many other things that we are generally not aware of. EMFs, radiation, all these different vibrations in our surroundings that really can have a huge impact on us. So that was a huge one for me, and yeah, one of the best investments I've made for my health and wellness. Yeah.
And I mean, any investment in yourself is always well worth it, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
I truly
yeah.
believe that. I truly believe, sometimes, we've been conditioned in certain ways that, spending money on your own personal growth or your health and wellness, you kind of second guess it. But I personally believe that should be the first and best investment in one's life, because, health is wealth. So
Mm.
yeah, that's,
It's
that's,
coming a lot for me
mm,
lately. It was said the other day in coaching where when you invest in yourself, you're saying basically to yourself and the universe, I'm worth it. Like I
yep,
just like, whoa,
yep,
yeah. Tony Robbins' book that I'm listening to, something about mastery of money or something. I can't remember what
mm,
that's called, but even he was saying you're investing. The best thing that you should invest in is yourself to raise yourself in the market industry sort of thing. And you think you should invest in your work all the
yep,
time. But it's actually yourself so that you
yourself.
continue
Yeah.
increasing your value. So your value increases within the market. So
Oh, I absolutely love that.
mind
Yeah.
blowing.
Yeah, it's personal
Yeah.
development at its finest and, learning and growing. And I just, yeah, I absolutely love that because I just feel like, you learn from so much along the way. I've done so many things along the way that, all these little things, they all contribute. And at the time, it may not feel like, or what you don't may not know whether it's the right investment, but still you're still learning something from that. And it's amazing how then, another time in your life you can actually apply it and you're like, oh wow, that
It
actually,
all makes
happened
sense
for a
now.
reason. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
so
I love
true.
that. Mm.
And of course, you are our muse for our New Year's Eve, not New Year's, yeah, our New Year's issue of creating the muse. So I have to ask, what does creating the muse mean to you?
Well, firstly, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm so excited to be in the Creating the Muse podcast and magazine and to be featured. It's something that is a highlight for me. So thank you so, so
Oh,
much. And
absolute pleasure.
for me, Creating the Muse is about inspiring and empowering others to take a active role and play an active role in their health and be an advocate for themselves. And I'm so passionate about sharing my story because I believe that, when you share your story, you can impact others and, in so many different ways. And so I'm truly passionate about sharing, that and what I've learned in order to impact others' lives. And yeah, it's all about, inspiring others and empowering others to do the same, really. Yeah.
It's like you're being their muse within themselves to follow or give themselves permission to do this
Yeah.
work. Yeah, and to
Yeah.
put their health first and foremost. And
Absolutely. And ask questions, always
yeah,
ask questions. And, you may be told something or you may be given a prognosis, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be your life. Ask the questions around that and then change the direction of your life. So,
mm,
and the body has the amazing ability to heal. I think we haven't been taught that. And when you realize that, it does, and you actually see those, the changes in your body, and, when you make these shifts and you do different things in your world, like it creates a huge impact on the rest of your life. So, yeah.
oh, it's just even that the concept. I don't know how many days or how much it takes, but you literally regenerate your skin a whole new, like with I don't know how long. I can't remember how long it is, but
Yeah.
just the fact that when you're talking about your body can heal itself, if you can
Yeah.
grow new flesh and new cells, that's
Exactly.
completely new.
That's right.
Like,
It's just
ah,
about, creating that environment for it to flourish and thrive. And, when you're looking after yourself, you can do that and you can recover
mm,
and you can heal and, you can just look at your diagnosis as just a thing that was part of your life, but it's not, not you and it
doesn't
doesn't
define
define
you.
you. Yep.
Oh, Mirella, thank you for being such an inspiration to me, and I'm sure to everybody that's listening. You've just so many aha moments, and it's like my inner child, like talking about your magic. That's what it is. Like how the
Oh,
sound healing, the feelings, the goosebumps, the just your it's magic. It makes you believe for somebody that's such a science geek. Just yeah, it does. It makes it gives you permission to actually believe in that it is magic. So I love that so much. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I so appreciate you and
oh,
this time together. So
Indiana, thank you so, so much for this opportunity. It's been an absolute pleasure. And you've actually inspired me to leave a little bit of a song with you, if that's okay.
oh my God, yes.
Okay. So
Actually, before we do
just
that,
space.
could you
Yes.
tell us where people can find you before I'll put it in the show notes, but what's
Yes.
the best place to find you closing out? And then,
Yeah, cool. So you can head to my website, which is www.mirellapetrucci.com. And I'm also on socials, so on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. So yeah, feel free to reach out. Love to connect.
thank you. Take it away.
Many nights we pray with no proof anyone can hear. In our hearts are hopes for something barely understood. We are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. There can be miracles when you believe. There can be miracles when you believe. There can be miracles when you believe. There can be miracles when you believe, when you believe.
I was in Ireland. Sorry, my mic's gone. Felt like I was in Ireland and on the cliff face looking over there. Thank
I
you.
love that. You just inspired me to share that, so I
Oh,
hope that's okay.
oh, it's perfect. Everything is perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much again. See you
Thank
later.
you.